A time when I had to stand on who I knew God to be, despite what people were saying and despite what the situation looked like, was absolutely when I bought my first home. This was a season, and really, if you're looking at the market today, where interest rates were extremely high. And so a lot of people that I, talked to, even people that I knew that had purchased homes before, they were like, "Oh no, you don't want to buy a house now. Like the interest rates. And oh no, you need to wait. If you just wait till XYZ, it'll be better." And it was just bombarded with like, this is not the right time. In addition to the fact that the house and the area that I knew God was leading me to purchase in, I literally, like, he highlighted it to me. I went thinking that I was just going on a visit. And it was like, no, this is it. And I knew prior to going that this was not in my budget. Let me be very clear. There was no confusion about like, oh, maybe we can work the numbers. You know how people, we can work the numbers. No, I was clear. Unless you're doing some kind of fraud, there's no working the numbers here. This is not like, I was just going to look and kind of see like, ooh, this is a nice, like, to get my ideas flowing for when I go and then find something in my budget. Not the God I serve, not the God of my salvation. He made it clear, like, this is it. And I was like, mind you, I did new construction. So I built my first home to the glory of God. And so I'm in a model. It's beautiful. And so I'm walking around like, oh my God, this is so nice. And how much, like, and I don't know anything about anything. I've never built a home. I've never purchased a home. I don't know. And so I am doing all of these different things in process. And I'll never forget when it got time. So at this point, I've put like down payments. God has moved, right? So that I have down payments and that I have all of the earnest money. He's moved and made a way. And I'm just like, oh, wow, this is moving so fast. Like, this is definitely God. And being honest, I feel like I had the faith to like move on the down payment and to move on signing my name, picking out all of this stuff. I had faith for all of that. But I don't think I have budgeted enough faith. My faith started to dwindle when it got time for that down payment. The closing cost. I had taken care of the down payment, but now we're talking like I done already put all of this money down. Now we're coming to closing. You got to have some additional money. And so what I had thought was that either I was going to get like a new position at my job or interest rates were going to come down. I don't know what I thought God was going to do, but I thought it involved me having closing costs a different way. I don't know what I thought. I don't know, but I was wrong. And so I remember feeling so defeated, feeling like maybe I had made a mistake. And all I had was who I knew God to be. All I had was friends encouraging me, a pastor encouraging me to say he is who he said he is. That's all I had. All I had was a name. All I had was Jehovah Jireh. All I had is, God, this is what you said. All I had was a word. And that whole situation, if I'm being honest, it came to really test who I thought was God. Is it that your savings account is God? Is it that your job is God? Is it that how you think it's supposed to be done? Is your intellect? Is your will God? It can't, I'm telling you right now, buying a house, that closing, that thing will come and test everything in you. And that's exactly what it did. And it just showed me how much faith I was putting in my own ability and in what I wanted, because I definitely wanted God to do it a certain way. And baby, he did not do it that way. And I was in my feelings, and my close friend just reminded me, hey, we're going to give thanks right in through here. We're gonna give thanks. I haven't heard you say thank you. I know it's not what you wanted it to be. I know it didn't work out how you thought it was gonna work out. It worked. But it wasn't how I wanted it to work out. Cause I didn't want to use all my money. Trifling. I don't know. I was expecting a supernatural act, but I wasn't seeing the supernatural act. And so God moved, but because it wasn't the way I wanted him to move, I was negating the fact that he moved. But looking back, he proved himself in that home buying process time and time and time again.
So for me, the time that comes to mind has to do with school again. And I was in high school. I want to say around my junior year because I was applying for college. And at this point, I had this desire to be a neurosurgeon. And we give God glory that he had another plan because I don't think I really could have done that field for very long. But so I'm in this healthcare or health academy as a high school student in our nursing program, and my trajectory was going to go pre-med undergrad and then do med school. So what I remember is applying to one particular school, and then there was like some time that passed after I applied to this one school. And then all of a sudden, I think I want to go to an HBCU. And the only ones I knew about were FAMU in Florida. And then at the time, this other school was named BCC, Bethune-Cookman College. It's now BCU for university. It also was in Florida. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to check out FAM because the advisor for our step team in high school was a Rattler. He went to FAM. And so that's the one that stood out to me the most. So I was at home, and I don't know where we got this book from, but I had this book of HBCUs, and they were all listed in alphabetical order. So I'm like, okay, I went straight to the letter F for FAM. And I'm looking them up online after I found out a little bit more information about them. And I said, okay, well, let me see, what do they have in neuroscience? They had nothing. Nothing. And so my dreams for FAM instantly dissipated. It was very short-lived. And literally, when I went to the next school, H came up and Howard showed up. And so at that time, I had never heard of Howard University. I had no idea about who they were, but they had a neuro program. And I said, well, I guess this is where we're going. And so I remember looking up the school, and the thing that literally I remember standing out to me was the emblem, our shield, the insignia for Howard. And I don't know what it was, but I want to use the word presidential in this moment, but I don't know if that's the word that I had back then, but it did feel prestigious. It felt, I don't know, official. There was something about seeing the insignia for Howard, it being in the nation's capital. Like it was something. And I remember getting so hyper focused on this school, and I was like, this is where I'm going. And so I stopped applying to other schools. And I remember, like, at some point, my mom was asking, like, well, what about the other schools? You need to apply to other schools because that's what you did. No one was applying to one school, right? And I said, well, God said, I'm going to Howard. I'm going to Howard. And my mama started telling the people, because, the people be asking, well, what did he doing? Well, she said, the Lord said she going to Howard, so she going to Howard. And that's the last school she applied to. So literally, outside of the other school, that one random one, which I don't even know if they've ever responded to me. Maybe they told me I got in or not. I I don't actually officially know. We gonna lean with I didn't get in and I didn't hear from them because I don't even remember. Literally, Howard was the second school I applied to, and I applied to nothing else. It's Howard. Now, this is what is so pivotal about this moment, because at this point in my life, although I was a church girl, grew up in church, I would have never said I was a girl, a woman, a young lady of faith. This concept of faith, the way we hear it used today, is not the concept that I had as a kid or even as a teenager. And I remember my mom never saying, well, I don't think that's a good idea. She never tried to talk me out of this. And when I asked her, I remember asking her, well, God, like, Mama, why didn't you never, like, ever try to get me to apply somewhere else? And she was like, your mind was made up. You were sure. And I was like, well. And imagine having such a strong belief and conviction in God and what you feel he has said that even adults are like, well, she believes God. Like, no adult question it. Like, it's crazy to me now. But at that time I was just like, yeah, why? Because it's the Lord. Like, why would we? And interestingly enough, as life would happen, that surety did weaken, right? Because I started living and the facts of life started to compete with the truth of God. But I hold on to that moment, and God thank you, Lord, reminds me of that, because it's like, you are a woman of faith, Deandra. Don't let the facts of life distort the truth of who I am. And so there have been some moments that I have to go back to, but this one is probably the beginning. This is the first one.
Knowing God personally is the most important relationship that I will ever have, that you will ever have, even if you don't know it. Because there is no one else that understands you, the real you, the way that God does. There's also no one else who's in a better position to sympathize with the fullness of what it is that you've had to experience, especially in those bad times, right? The Bible says that we don't have a high priest that is not empathetic to us, because he was fully God and fully human. He knows what it feels like to be down here in this earth and have to feel what it is that we feel. And sometimes what we feel, what we go through, we can't just go to anybody else with that. Sometimes we try to hold it in, but we can't. And so I'm so thankful that the Bible also says that he makes intercession for us. Like, the Spirit makes intercession for us. And it says with groanings, when I don't have words. Like, think about, for me, it's like late in the midnight hour when I can't go to anybody else, when I don't want to go to anybody else, when I don't want anybody to know how I'm feeling. Like, I have that personal relationship with God, and he understands, but more importantly, he cares, and he can handle my feelings. Everybody can't handle what you're going through, or what you're dealing with. I just think that the personal relationship with him is the best you'll ever have, because he truly knows you. I know we think our friends know us, but like, God knows us because he created us, because he knows our beginning from the end. And he knows what he designed us to be and do, what we were created for. And so having a personal relationship with him I can't imagine not having a personal relationship. I feel like I try to think back to when it was just very, like, when I was just like super not vulnerable with God. Like, I just was like passing through, like going through the motions. And when I think about those times, it was when I had so much weight that I was carrying, when I felt like I had to do everything on my own. And so now there's a freedom that comes with having a personal relationship with God, because I can go to him, I can be honest with him, but I can also say, I don't understand what you're doing. I don't understand what this means. I don't understand why I had to go this way. I don't even understand how. I don't understand none of the key pieces here. But as long as we can keep walking this thing out together, fine. I think it's having the closeness, having the personal relationship. I've gotten to a point where it's like, I just really want you. All this other stuff doesn't mean anything. I thought I had stuff. I thought I had the thing. I thought I had it. And then I realized that I didn't have it. And that anything without you, without God, really isn't anything at all. And so, yeah, it's the most important relationship because there's none like him. There's nobody like him. Like, we sing songs about nobody like you. Like, we sing that, but I don't think that we understand that we serve a God that is God, but he wants to be close to us. He's not like, just stay away. Like, no, he wants to draw near to us. And that's a privilege. And so sometimes I'm just like, man, I don't even know why you even want to be personal with me. After everything I've done, after, like, you really know who I am and what's, like, you know me. And you still want a personal relationship with me? That's wild. But that's why it's nobody like him. And why a relationship with somebody else could never compare. So yeah.
I might geek out just the teens on this, but I'll start with a dream. I had a dream. God gave me this dream. It's been years now, but it is one of the ones that I've held and have had to hold close to me, because it is an anchoring kind of dream. And in it, God said, all I'll ever need is veracity. And being fully transparent, I didn't know what veracity was. I don't know about y'all, but I've had many dreams where God will give me words that I've never heard of, don't know how to spell. And we out here, Lord, is this veracity? Like, literally sounding it out, and like, is this a word? And it is. Veracity is a strong commitment to truth and facts. But with more emphasis on the truth part, because it was the Lord who said the word to me. And he said, that's all I'll need is this strong commitment to truth. And the reason why that's important is when it comes to our personal relationship with God is because this pillar about personal pursuit centers on knowing God personally. And to know God is to know truth. And to know truth is to be able to have something to judge everything against. And so when it's not truth, it's a lie. And if you know God personally, then that means you have the privilege and the safety of walking through life with the greatest lie detector you could ever have, right? And imagine all of the scenarios that you've experienced in life that have been absent of truth. where you didn't know God's truth on a matter. You didn't know God's position on a matter. And as a result, you made decisions, covenant, built relationships, moved places. We did the stuff, y'all. We did a lot of things from a place of error, ignorance, just being self-led even. And so one of the biggest reasons I would always advocate for a person to know God personally and why it's important to me is because ultimately one of the outcomes is truth, an intimate relationship with truth. You get to know truth personally. And so when life starts to give you facts, you confront facts with truth. When the enemy starts to give you lies, you confront lies with truth. When your body starts getting out of whack, you start speaking to your body with truth. Like, I know what my life looked like prior to starting to pursue God personally with the aim of knowing who he is. Not simply was, because that's important too, but who he is, because he's unchanging. So if he was good then, he's good now. That is truth. If he was faithful then, he's faithful now. And that is truth. And so having a personal relationship with God, knowing God personally for yourself, it positions you to live life in truth and with truth. And so, yeah.